facing housing, water, power, heat, and healthcare woes. Even President Vladimir Putin acknowledges many truly pressing urgent problems in the regions that were illegally annexed by Moscow months after the war began back in February of 2022. Ousted South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol remains defiant in reaction to a life sentence imposed by a Seoul court for his short-lived declaration of martial law. But he's not saying definitively whether he will file an appeal. In a statement released by his attorneys, Yoon denounces the judiciary and maintains that his power grab in December of 2024 was solely for the sake of the nation and our people. News and analysis, townhall.com. NASA's new boss is blasting Boeing and the space agency for Starliner's botched flight and left 2 astronauts stuck at the International Space Station.
Administrator Jared Isaacman said Thursday poor leadership and decision-making at Boeing led to Starliner's troubles. He also blamed NASA managers for failing to intervene and get Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams back more quickly. 2 test pilots spent more than 9 months at the station before catching a lift back with SpaceX last March. Isaacman says Starliner's problems must be better understood and fixed before any more astronauts strap in. Bob Agnew reporting.
The cost of borrowing for a home has slipped again this week, falling to its lowest level in several years. Mortgage buyer Freddie Mac says benchmark 30-year fixed-rate mortgage rate fell to 6.01%. That's down from 6.09 last week, and a year ago, the rate was averaging 6.85%. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning, and welcome to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It's time for the Morning Rundown, which is brought to you every weekday morning at this time by our friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here's a morning rundown for Friday, February 20th, 2026. Number 1, Donald Trump warns Iran, cut a deal with us in 10 days, or we will take military action. They're not going to cut a deal. Military action is going to happen. So buckle up, Buttercup. Number 2, here in Nashville, the Bolshevik mayor of Nashville, Freddie O'Connell, admitted to us that his NES, Nashville Electric Service Winter Storm Commission, is nothing but a PR stunt. And oh, by the way, former Nashville mayor, former Tennessee Governor Phil Bredesen's conflict of interest really doesn't matter. P.S. The 82-year-old Bredesen has now diminished his reputation dramatically for being the chair of this political snow job. Number 3, a Nashville public school teacher charged with statutory rape. Number 4, in California, public schools are not required to disclose when their teachers sexually molest children. See a theme going on here? Number 5, Donald Trump is saving Barack Obama by ordering the release of UFO files, right? Because Barack said he kind of let some information slip that he shouldn't have, and so Trump says, okay, I'll help you out here, Barack. I'll release all this stuff. And so I don't know when it's going to come out, but it'll be very interesting. Number 6, Canada, big problem. It's a security problem for the United States of America. Why? They've just announced they're going to hire foreign mercenaries for their service. Foreign pilots, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to go to China. They got Chinese pilots flying Canadian planes. What could possibly go wrong? Number 7, John Solomon had some blockbuster revelations on 2020 election fraud. Yeah, it was stolen. We know it for sure. Okay, Ben Cunningham will join us. Number 8, Ben Cunningham will join us in hour 2, and I think also will be Ben, of course, Nashville Tea Party, and I think Grant Starrett from the Federalist Society will be here also. So that should be a lot of fun. Number 9. Our man in Washington, Neil McCabe, joins us in hour 3. And, of course, Tom Pappert, Dow Prize Award winner, broke the story for us on, when did he break that story? He broke the story late yesterday that the Bolshevist mayor of Nashville, Freddie O'Connell, is admitting this commission is worthless. What a shock. So there you go. There's a morning rundown for Friday, February 20th, 2026. Brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. Have you heard about the latest Glocks, the Gen 6 Glocks? Lenny McGill, the CEO and founder of the Glock Store, has. He tells me the new Gen 6 Glocks have a new optic system, RTF6 texturing, an enlarged beaver tail, a flat-face trigger, a trigger guard undercut, and an integrated thumb rest, also known as the gas pedal. Lenny tells me the Gen 6 Glocks are definitely the most refined Glocks ever produced. And as you might expect, the Glock Store has already received their first shipment of Gen 6 G17s, 19s, and 45s. And they were literally gone before they even arrived at the warehouse. That's because the Glock Store is letting you pre-order these new Glocks, so you'll be one of the first to get your hands on one. And as a thank you for your pre-order, you'll get an extra magazine when you receive your new Gen 6 Glock. Here's what you do. Go to glockstore.com, click on the Gen 6 tab at the top of the website, place your pre-order for the Glock or Glocks of your choice. When they ship your new Glock to the FFL of your choice, or you pick it up at the Glock Store retail showroom here in Nashville, the Glock Store will throw in an extra magazine. But you got to hurry. This is a limited time offer only for pre-orders and only from our friends at the Glock Store, the #1 source for Glock parts, accessories, and the new Gen 6 Glocks. Visit glockstore.com today. I promise you'll be glad you did. All right, let's get right to the clips now. This is very troublesome in California. You know, Catherine Herridge, she's born in Toronto. She went to Harvard. She's a few years behind me. And but she had a terrific journalistic career. She was at Fox News for a long time, and then CBS News. And then CBS News said, "You're poking into stuff that we don't want to report on." And basically, they let her go. Now she's independent and doing great work. She interviewed an expert on education on what's going on in California. You won't believe this. Clip 18.
I have here the Child Abuse and Neglect Reporting Act. Is there a requirement for schools to notify parents of credible allegations of sexual molestation or abuse against children by teachers?
No. If a child is a third grader and they go to school and the school removes the teacher because they believe the teacher molested a little boy or a little girl, there is absolutely no legal requirement for schools to notify parents.
How can that be?
Well, I think we have to ask the California legislature and the other legislatures who have allowed this situation to occur. This is designed to conceal the level of abuse by school personnel from parents. Okay, I want to be clear about something. Most teachers are good people and there for the right reasons. In fact, in many of the cases, the reporters who finally stop it are other teachers. But what happens to them, in my experience, when they stand up and say, "No, you're not doing this anymore," and reporting, frequently, not always, but frequently, they're retaliated against by the administration and the school district.
Yeah, you think? Yeah, this is a huge problem. Public schools, as they exist today, all around the country, are an absolute disaster. Not only are kids not able to read, write, and do math or think, they are being propagandized. We've got many examples of that, all the ICE protests going on. And now it seems obvious that there are a number of sexual predators who are teachers. So we'll have more on that a little bit later in the program. Now, this is kind of funny. I want to talk about this here a little bit. You know, there are a lot of people that are big on UFOs, et cetera. When I was a kid, I read some books about this. There was a book called Incident at Exeter. And I read it and I concluded there's no evidence for that. But nonetheless, it's been out there for a while. Donald Trump had something to say about Barack Obama goofing up. Here we go, clip one. Let's see how he's going to fix that.
Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. You know.
So aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, the president can declassify anything that he wants to. So
Well,
if
maybe
you
I'll
want
get
to
him
make
out
an
of trouble.
announcement,
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
we know illegal aliens.
Yeah, illegal. Only illegals.
Okay, so a couple of funny things about this. Yes, he is declassifying this, so there'd be all sorts of stuff. We've got to get the right language here. Okay, they are not illegals, or they are not aliens. They are undocumented extraterrestrials, right? Undocumented extraterrestrials. Hey, when we come back, we'll have more on the craziness in California and Australia and what that means for the United States. Back after this.
They got a bill going up to allow casino gambling on your phone, not regulated.
They call it iGaming, and it's bad.
You put $10 in, it's gone. This is insane beyond belief.
Leads to loss of jobs, increased gambling addiction, putting families at risk.
How do you regulate it? How does the state tax it? Is it sponsored by the casinos?
No, this is another company that wants casino gambling on your phone in Virginia. Like my head is exploding.
Call 804-698-7400. Tell your senator vote no to iGaming.
I have no idea why Mamie Locke would introduce such a horrible bill.
This thing is probably going to pass if we don't stop it. Like my head is exploding.
Call 804-698-7400. Tell your senator vote no to iGaming. It's bad. Message paid for by the National Association Against iGaming.
Do you think workers in Virginia should be forced to pay union dues and fees just to get or keep a job? For 80% of Virginians, the answer is no. That's why Virginia's right-to-work law is so popular. Unfortunately, special interest lobbyists in Richmond are seeking to repeal right-to-work in Virginia. With the General Assembly back, it is vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to oppose forced unionism and protect right-to-work in Virginia. Sign your petition today at virginiarighttowork.com. That's virginiarighttowork.com. The National Right to Work Committee paid for this ad.
The J. Fred Media Menu, now serving hot takes of Rob Carson.
I want to talk a little bit about this transgender Canadian shooter. This is a tragedy, but I'm telling you, it doesn't help to avoid, because you're afraid of offending, the massive signs that this kid was going to do something. We are finally, I think, getting back to the fact we can say that boys who think they're girls, maybe there's something wrong.
The Rob Carson Show, weekdays, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on J. Fred's Media Network.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599. 800-780-3599.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We have a breaking story, and it's good that Grant Sterrett and Ben Cunningham will be with us in the next hour because we will talk with them about this. It's a significant blow to the Trump administration from the Supreme Court. This story just broke literally about 10 minutes ago. This is from Just the News. The Supreme Court ruled on Friday, issued a ruling on President Donald Trump's authority to impose tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. His authority to impose such tariffs was subject of the legal dispute, which saw Trump point to the International Emergency Economic Powers Act as granting him the authority. The court rejected his position. It's bad news. The court is, and it's not a surprise that Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the opinion, quote, "We claim no special competence in matters of economic or foreign affairs. We claim only, as we must, the limited role assigned to us by Article 3 of the Constitution. Fulfilling that role, we hold that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not authorize the president to impose tariffs," wrote Chief Justice John Roberts. The ruling, this is from Ben Whedon, it's a breaking story. The ruling is a blow for Trump's economic agenda, though the immediate implications for existing trade agreements are unclear. Since returning to office, President Donald Trump has imposed sweeping tariffs on nearly every country in a bid to rebalance trade. His efforts have been somewhat successful, and he's secured agreements with the UK, EU, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, India, much of the Pacific Rim. I'm going to take a look here. I'm doing this in real time, but it's a 170-page opinion, and I got to roll down. I mean, this is really ridiculous in terms of how long this is. I can go to SCOTUS blog. Okay, so Gorsuch concurred. Roberts wrote the majority opinion, and let's see who dissented on this. I'm going down to the dissents. Hold on. Dissent. Gorsuch concurring. Well, hold on. Let me just see this again. No, this is the wrong one, guys. Sorry about that. That was a different one. I'm going down here. No. They've linked to the release of this. This is a whole bunch of stuff here. So hold on. Okay, here we go. It looks like Kavanaugh dissented. Let's see. Yeah. No, the learning resources. Hold it. The name of the case, sorry about that, is Learning Resources. And that it is a 170-page opinion. I'm looking at the dissent here. So Kavanaugh dissented. And I want to see who joined with Kavanaugh on this. It's not a total surprise that, so you've got Roberts and Gorsuch, who, Barrett concurred. Hold on, let's just see here. Sorry, we're doing this in real time. I'm going to have to go to a SCOTUS blog on this thing. But it looks like let me go to SCOTUS block. Again, breaking story, the tariffs are determined to be unconstitutional. And it looks like this might be a 6-3 decision. And let's see. Oh, no. Are they? They haven't even hit this yet at SCOTUS block. It just came out, so you're getting this all firsthand about this. Let's see. Kavanaugh dissenting. On refunds. The process is likely to be a mess. So there may or may not be refunds on this thing. Basically, rolling down on this. We're going to have to take some time to analyze this. So, anyways, it looks like it's 6-3, but we'll see. So that would be in the majority on this. It looks like, and I may stand corrected here because I don't have the exact stuff on it, but it looks like it was in the majority. Roberts, Gorsuch, the three liberals on the court, that would be 1, 2, 3, or 5, and Barrett. It looks like that would be the case. So it looks like we are in a 6-3. Yeah, I'm looking at Washington Times report on this. And what does the Washington Times say about that? Yeah, here, let me read the Washington Times story. It was a 6-3 decision. Not a surprise. So the dissenters almost certainly were, Thomas Kavanaugh and Alito dissented, which means Gorsuch, Barrett, and Roberts went to the dark side on this one. Now, I know it's not a surprise. Now, this is going to be a total mess. Let me tell you what the Supreme Court, how the Washington Times reported. It's by Alex Swoyer, our friend Alex, Stephen Denon, and Tom Howell Jr. Just broke. The Supreme Court ruled Friday that President Trump exceeded his powers with his expansive use of tariffs, punching a giant hole in the centerpiece of White House's economic agenda. Led by Chief Justice John Roberts, the court in a 6-3 decision said the international emergency economic powers does not give the president the power to levy large, indefinite tariffs. The Chief Justice said they did not decide whether tariffs are proper policy, only that Trump didn't have the authority under the law he claimed. Quote, we claim, I'm just reading again, we claim no special competence in matters of economic or foreign affairs. Okay. So let's look at the deal on this, though, is what is going to happen. Okay, we've got a summary here. We actually went to Grok on this. Okay. Here are the details on the ruling. It was 6-3. Roberts and the lefties joined by Gorsuch and Barrett. Not a surprise that those three were the ones that ruled against the president. It basically, the scope and impact of this thing from Grok, this invalidates the bulk of Trump's global or reciprocal tariffs, including elements like the 10% baseline global tariff and higher duties on specific countries, often referred to in his agenda as part of Liberation Day policies from 2025. Not all tariffs are affected. Those imposed under other statutory authorities may remain intact. Okay. The ruling is a significant setback to one of Trump's core second-term economic initiatives, which he has described as essential for addressing trade deficits and protecting U.S. interests. The administration had warned that a loss could lead to unwinding trade deals, potential refunds to importers, and major economic disruption. Markets and trade partners are reacting, so expect volatility as details on implementation, refunds, phase-outs, etc., emerge. So this is a very bad decision by the Supreme Court. We'll have to come back and look at the dissent from Kavanaugh. It's interesting that Kavanaugh wrote the dissent, and I'll tell you exactly why he wrote the dissent, because he's not the most senior there. Alito and Thomas, are more senior, but they wanted Kavanaugh because Kavanaugh is, kind of been considered sort of in the squishy middle. Now, the consequences of this, the political consequences of this are going to be significant and dramatic. President Trump has talked about, he's talked about, a plan B. Well, okay, let's look at what the plan B is. And now you're going to have all of these, they're going to have all of these folks who got tariffs are going to say, we want our money back, we want our money back. That's going to be the key to all this. In the dissent, Kavanaugh said this whole refund thing is going to be a huge mess. There's going to be a big battle on all this. And if you're the Department of Justice right now, you're going to fight this tooth and nail. And you're going to say, no refunds, no refunds, no refunds. And does the majority opinion allow any kind of wiggle room on not allowing refunds? They didn't seem to think that through. The national security consequence of this, I'm going to have to say, Roberts, Gorsuch, and Barrett are huge disappointments on this issue. This is the most significant reversal of Trump's policies that this Supreme Court has done. And it's very, very significant, and Trump is going to have to fight this like crazy. And so the reverberations are going to be great. Look for the stock market to go down dramatically. We'll have more when we get back. We'll talk about some local stuff with Tom Peppert.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
So, well, you guys joining us to talk about all of these big things is Professor Alan Dershowitz.
I think the far more important issue, obviously, is Iran. I've known Bibi now, it's probably 55 years.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The reason he's coming is to give him intelligence that he won't give in any other way except in person in the Oval Office. And Iran is not Venezuela.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We will get back to the stunningly bad Supreme Court decision just announced that basically said Trump's tariffs are not constitutional. 6-3. And you have the usual suspects on the majority side, not just the three liberal left-wing justices, but in addition to that, you had Chief Justice John Roberts, Neil Gorsuch, and Amy Barrett. Two of those three are appointees of Donald Trump. It's a very bad decision. The dissent was written by Justice Kavanaugh and joined in that dissent by Alito and Thomas. When Grant Sterrett and Ben Cunningham come here, we'll go into more details on that. But right now, I want to get to this breaking story that we had last night about the mayor of Nashville admitting, and our own Tom Pappert wrote this story. It's our lead story at the Tennessee Star, TennesseeStar.com right now. And the headline is, Nashville mayor says Storm Commission has no formal authority when asked about apparent conflict of interest by former Governor Phil Bredesen. Oh, okay. So here's the story. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell on Tuesday announced the members of his 2026 Winter Storm Response Commission, which will deliver its final report a year from today, and tapped former Governor Phil Bredesen to chair its efforts. Former Governor Bredesen, 82 years old. Let me be honest. Phil is well past his prime. And this is a very, very bad look for his diminishing reputation to be on a snow job commission like this. Despite Bredesen co-founding Silicon Ranch, a green energy company that does a level of business with National Electric Service. We'll get to that in a little bit. When I say a level, we'll have some more details on that. Mayor O'Connell told the Tennessee Star on Thursday that the former governor did not have a conflict of interest because his commission had no authority. Ben Cunningham with the Nashville Tea Party has joined us. Ben, come on in, and we want to talk about this. We're going to get to when Grant Sterrett joins us in a little bit, Ben. Yeah, come on in, Ben. When Grant Sterrett joins us in a few minutes, we're going to talk about the stunning Supreme Court decision. Did you hear about that, Ben? Oh, well, sit down, and we'll get to. We got so much to talk about here, Ben. The Supreme Court just ruled 6-3 against Donald Trump's legal authority to issue tariffs. 6-3.
So it's all of the tariffs. There was some speculation that it
No,
might
it wasn't
be
all,
nuanced.
It wasn't all of the tariffs. It was most of them under the International Economic Emergency Act. And
is that retroactive? I mean, does he have to return the money or what?
You know, in his dissent, Justice Kavanaugh said that there's no provision in the majority ruling as to whether or not and how there would be refunds. It's going to be a mess.
It is.
And he said that. Now, interestingly enough, it was 6-3. You could guess who the three were. If Kavanaugh wrote the dissent, we'll test this out here.
Mm-hmm.
If Kavanaugh wrote the dissent and it was 6-3, who would you guess joined him in the dissent?
The three ladies?
No, Kavanaugh dissented. Kavanaugh
dissented.
He dissented. Yeah. Yeah. The three who dissented. So Kavanaugh was one of the three dissenters.
Alito.
Yep. And Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the trouble was here. I'm going to look at the details of it was 100
just this morning. Pages. I mean, it just happened.
Half an hour ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we actually have it here, and it's a reckless decision by the Supreme Court.
It is. I mean, it jeopardizes so much of what Trump's trying to do. I read the other day that there was like $200 billion. I forget over what time period that was, but this has gone a long way in reducing the deficit, the federal deficit. So it wrecks fiscal policy to a great extent. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the stock market today.
It's going to dive.
It's going to dive.
It's totally going to dive, and you know, the Supreme Court justices here, the ones that I don't fault the three liberals for being liberals,
yeah,
because they are liberals.
Mm-hmm.
But so Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown Jackson,
communists do what communists do.
Communists do what communists do, and Kagan. But Roberts was a turncoat on this. Now he'll say he wasn't. He was trying to interpret the law, but this is a bigger problem. This is a bigger problem than that. This is a destructive element to the major economic policy of Donald Trump. And they could have easily ruled in his favor, but they chose not to.
And it basically hands over to the Democrats a huge amount of power.
Yeah.
Which Trump was wielding to benefit the country.
They missed that, yeah. And again, Amy Coney Barrett, the law professor, right? Who and Neil Gorsuch, the libertarian.
This was essentially the emergency. He was claiming emergency powers.
Right. Yeah. So it's really bad.
That is bad.
And let me just kind of go back to the dissent.
Let's see what.
Let's just kind of go back to the dissent on this. And I want to go back. We're changing kind of our topics here a little bit because this is so important. I'm going to go up. Oh, so Thomas wrote a dissent as well. So Thomas wrote a separate dissent from. Let me go up here. Oh my gosh, Justice Jackson concurred. We'll read that lunacy in a bit, but let's go down to. Look, if Justice Jackson is in the majority, you know this is a huge problem. Okay, so here's Clarence Thomas.
What a strange, weird ruling.
Well, let me read Justice Thomas right now. I join Justice Kavanaugh's principal dissent in full. As he explains, the court's decision today cannot be justified as a matter of statutory interpretation. Congress authorized the president to, quote, regulate importation. Throughout American history, the authority to regulate importation has been understood to include the authority to impose duties on imports. The meaning of that phrase was beyond doubt by the time that Congress enacted this statute, shortly after President Nixon's highly publicized duties on imports were upheld based on identical language. The statute that the president relied on, therefore, authorized him to impose the duties on imports at issue in these cases. Justice Kavanaugh makes clear that the court errs in concluding otherwise. I write separately to explain why the statute at issue here is consistent with the separation of powers as an original matter. The Constitution's separation of powers forbids Congress from delegating core legislative power to the president. This principle, known as the non-delegation doctrine, is rooted in the Constitution's legislative vesting clause and due process clause, Article 1, Section 5. Both clauses forbid Congress from delegating core legislative powers, which is the power to make substantive rules setting the conditions for deprivations of life, liberty, or property. Neither clause prohibits Congress from delegating other kinds of power, because the Constitution assigns Congress many powers that do not implicate the non-delegation doctrine. Congress may delegate the exercise of many powers to the president. Congress has done so repeatedly since the founding, with the court's blessing. The power to impose duties on imports can be delegated. At the founding, that power was regarded as one of many powers over foreign commerce that could be delegated to the president. Power over foreign commerce was not within the core legislative power, and engaging in foreign commerce was regarded as a privilege rather than a right. Early Congresses often delegated to the president power to regulate foreign commerce, including through duties or imports. As I suggested over a decade ago, writes Thomas, the non-delegation doctrine does not apply to a delegation of power to make rules governing private conduct in the area of foreign trade. Therefore, to the extent the court relies on separation of powers principles to rule against the president, it is mistaken. Boom.
Yeah, very clear. Go over the votes again one more time, if you would.
I know.
Who voted which way?
Okay, so the votes to say that the president's exercise of terrorist power under this act, the International Economic Emergency Powers Act, those who said his actions on that act were unconstitutional were Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who wrote a concurring opinion, and I can't wait to go over that. Justice Sotomayor, Justice Kagan, Chief Justice Roberts, Neil Gorsuch, and Justice Barrett. They all ruled against the president.
It's going to be fascinating to read that consensus opinion and see how they justified it.
Turns out we happen to have it right in our possession right now. And we will go up here, and I'll get it started. I'll get the Justice Roberts opinion started. And then we'll just begin with what Justice Roberts said. The question presented, this is Roberts, is whether the International Emergency Economic Powers Act authorized the president to impose tariffs. Shortly after taking office, President Trump sought to address two foreign threats: the influx of illegal drugs from Canada, Mexico, and China, and large and persistent trade deficits. The president determined that the drug influx had created a public health crisis and that the trade deficits had led to the hollowing out of American manufacturing base and undermined critical supply chains. The president declared a national emergency as to both threats, deeming them unusual and extraordinary, and invoked his authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Well, of course, and he rightly imposed that. We'll get more after the break. We'll come back and we'll see the twisted logic of Justice Roberts. And then, Ben, we'll get to the twisted logic of Ketanji Brown Jackson. Can you wait for that?
It's a doozy.
Oh, boy. Back after this.
Each of us is born with 30 trillion cells that make us. These cells determine how we feel, perform, sleep, focus, and how long we live. And to live our best life, all we have to do is feed our cells properly. But most supplements don't reach our cells, keeping us from reaching our full potential. Make every cell count with Healthy Cell. Founded with a mission to empower people to take control of their own health at the most fundamental level, the cell. Dr. Vincent Giampapa, world-renowned cell researcher and medical doctor, created supplements that work at the cellular level to support immune health, better sleep, sharper focus, and healthy aging. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com, HEALTHYCELL, and use code GODZILLA for 20% off.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging supplements clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
February is National Cancer Prevention Awareness Month. Now more than ever, we need to be seeking ways to lower our chances of cancer. And if you or a loved one is battling cancer, we need to make sure that no stone is left unturned in the effort to stay healthy. That's where the Wellness Company comes in. The Wellness Company has great doctors and medical professionals whom you can trust, like Dr. Kelly Victory and Dr. Peter McCullough. And they are committed to providing safe, low-cost alternatives to Big Pharma. From ivermectin to methylene blue to their fantastic new product, Shield, and so much more. The Wellness Company allows you to make the promise of the MAHA movement a reality for you and your family. This February, take control of your health. Go to twc.health/Godzilla today and order Shield. That's twc.health/Godzilla and use the promo code GODZILLA to save 10%.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
So, well, you guys joining us to talk about all of these big things is Professor Alan Dershowitz.
I think the far more important issue, obviously, is Iran. I've known Bibi now, it's probably 55 years.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The reason he's coming is to give him intelligence that he won't give in any other way except in person in the Oval Office. And Iran is not Venezuela.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We welcome Ben Cunningham and Grant Sterrett here in studio. Thanks for joining us, gentlemen. We'll get to the big news of the day, which is the Supreme Court decision basically saying that Trump's tariffs were unconstitutional in our next hour. But right now, we have a problem right here in Nashville. That problem is, my words, not yours, gentlemen. We have a Bolshevik mayor, Freddie O'Connell, and he's doing things that Bolsheviks do. Tom Pappert, the Dow Prize Award winner for local journalism, along with Christina Botteri and yours truly. Tom, you broke a big story yesterday. Freddie O'Connell admitted, in essence, that his big commission that's going to take a year to find out what happened in the storm and why power went out for 2 weeks is basically a PR stunt. Tell him what you asked and tell us how he responded.
Well, Michael, this all came after the Tennessee Star, of course, noticed that former Governor Phil Bredesen, who was appointed to chair this commission by O'Connell, happens to also be one of the co-founders of the green energy company based in Nashville, Silicon Ranch. And so Silicon Ranch obviously has a very well publicized business arrangement where they provide clean energy to the Tennessee Valley Authority, which provides credits to the Nashville Electric Service that then gives them to Vanderbilt University for its campus. In other words, there is an active business deal between NES, Silicon Valley, and TVA. So we asked Mayor Freddie O'Connell, does this constitute a conflict of interest? Are you concerned about this ownership overlap? And it took about 6 hours, I think, Michael, but we did get a response from Mayor Freddie O'Connell yesterday. He said, while NES matters may be reviewed by the commission has no formal authority over NES, so there cannot be any material conflict, just as having the vice mayor or a council member does not present a conflict to Metro. In other words, the commission can't actually do anything. It doesn't have the power. Therefore, you can appoint anybody you want without a conflict of interest.
How stupid is that?
This brings back memories of Bill Clinton sitting and giving the deposition, saying, "What is the definition of is?"
Depends on what the word "is" means. Freddie is increasingly tone deaf. I mean, he said the property tax increases. He said let them eat cake, basically. But in this instance, if you're 82-year-old Phil Bredesen and you have put your prestige on the line to be the chair of this. Basically PR snow job, aren't you thinking, oh my goodness, I have just diminished my reputation and my legacy dramatically?
Well, I think so, and it's even a bit confusing why some of the other members of the commission are so willing to participate. It's a commission that is going to have 1 year to deliver a report to the mayor, maybe to the public. We're still unclear about that. And at that time, what is the mayor even going to do? It seems as though this is a way to spend a year holding meetings, wait until the horrible Winter Storm Fern response has fallen out of the public memory, and then proceed without any changes whatsoever.
Yeah, it really does. And 1 year, look, I needed like 1 hour to figure out the problem, right? You needed 1 hour. We went in, we looked at public records, and we discovered that in 2024, National Electric Service reduced their expenditures for tree trimming by $7 million.
Do you hate trees? I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, they just hate trees.
We don't care about the canopy here at the Tennessee
Tree-phobic.
Tree-phobic, yeah.
When was the last time you hugged a tree? That's the real question. That's what I'm hearing here.
That's the standard, Grant, isn't it?
Now, I'm sure you've heard this. NES stands for No Electric Service.
Boom. I like that one. It does. But, they have mounted a huge PR campaign. They spent they may have spent more money on PR and lobbyists than they spent on tree trimming. We've asked, Tom, the one simple question that we've asked them, which is, what was your budget for tree trimming in fiscal 26, which began in July 1st of 2025, right? And how much have you actually spent? Have they answered that question yet?
No, Michael, they've indicated that information is going to be in their after-action review, their independent audit. They seem to come up with a new buzzword for the report every few days. But I'd also note that none of this would have necessarily come up if they had not disputed their 2024 report. The CEO, Teresa Broyles-Applin, says, no, we've actually increased our budget for tree trimming over the past 4 years. Meanwhile, again, you look at this report, it's in black and white. It went down from 21 million in 2023 to about 13.9 million in 2024.
Talk about playing games. So the CEO, Teresa Broyles-Applin, she's hyphenated, so therefore she's protected. Mm-hmm. She said she played games. She said, we've increased the budget 4 years. Well, it may be true, but the budget is not how much you spent on tree trimming. And oh, by the way, wasn't there a report in November that said we're way behind tree trimming? Tom, we got 30 seconds here.
Yes, there was, Michael, and we haven't got a clear answer on that, nor why that matter was assigned to a vice president at the company who resigned last October.
You can't make this stuff up. All right, well, we're going to be tracking all the work of Bolshevik Freddy. But when we come back, Tom, the big news, Grant Starrett, a law school graduate, Stanford Law, right?
Stanford undergrad, Vanderbilt Law.
Vanderbilt Law.
Yeah.
And Ben Cunningham of the National Tea Party. We're going to talk about this really bad Supreme Court decision that you predicted, Grant Starrett. Back after this.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
When you're learning something new, experience matters. At Lifestyles Unlimited, we've spent over 30 years teaching people how real estate investing works and how to build income with a clear, step-by-step strategy. Our program is designed to help you learn what to do, why it works, and how to take action at your own pace. Join today for just $297, a 60% savings off the regular price. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
This is WJFN, Goochland, Barnair, Chester, and WJFV, Portsmouth.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. A key element of President Trump's economic program has been struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court. The justices in a 6-3 decision have ruled against Mr. Trump's sweeping global tariffs. Today's decision centers on tariffs imposed under an emergency powers law, including the broad reciprocal tariffs he levied on many other countries, friend and foe alike. The president argued absolute legal authority to impose the levy.
The language is clear that I have the right to do it as president. I have the right to put tariffs on for national security purposes, countries that have been ripping us off for years. You know what they were doing? Using tariffs.
Mr. Trump has said that a ruling in this case against him would be an economic body blow to the country. Those nurses' picket lines may soon be coming down.
Nurses on strike at a major New York City hospital system have reached a tentative deal to end a strike that's lasted more than a month. The roughly 4,200 nurses at New York Presbyterian were the last holdouts in the largest and longest walkout of nurses in New York City's history. They've now approved a tentative contract that will now go to union members for a vote. If ratified, nurses would return to work as early as next week. Some 10,500 nurses from 2 other large hospitals have already approved new 3-year contracts. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
America's gross domestic product, the output of goods and services, increased at a 1.4% annual rate in the fourth quarter, less of an increase than economists had been expecting, and down from a 4.4% increase in the July through September quarter. And watching Wall Street, stocks are higher. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 130 points. The NASDAQ ahead 247. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. A lot of us are thinking about taxes, home projects we've been putting off, ways to get ahead financially in 2026. Now's the perfect time to talk to my friends at Fellowship Home Loans. If you want to lower your mortgage payment, they can help you refinance. If you need access to cash for home improvements or to wipe out high-interest debt, their fixed-rate line of credit is one of the best tools out there. Fast approval, predictable rate, and flexibility to use your home's equity wisely. Remember, many people still qualify to skip their next 2 mortgage payments. Imagine starting big projects or paying down debt with 2 months of breathing room. My family and I have used Fellowship personally. I trust these guys. Take control of 2026. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G. fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE. That's 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
British researchers, they've compiled the first detailed genetic map of cancer in house cats, find striking similarities to some human versions of the disease.
Despite cats being common household pets, very little was known about the genetics of cancer in these animals until now. Scientists analysed DNA extracted from tumour samples taken from almost 500 pet cats. They say many of the genetic changes linked with the condition are mirrored in humans. The researchers say that by studying the genetic changes that lead to cancer in cats, it might be possible to develop better veterinary medicines and potentially human ones too.
The BBC's Helen Briggs. India has joined a U.S.-led initiative to strengthen tech cooperation among allies, a move that underscores the nation's warming ties after a brief strain over India's purchase of Russian oil. News and analysis at townhall.com. There are times when the job of a medical professional can be especially challenging, and given the patient in this scenario, this is one of those times.
It all began when experts in the U.S. went to Africa to help an endangered white rhino with a life-threatening parasitic eye infection. Doctors quickly realized surgery was not an option, so they developed a plan based on a program where animals are taught to participate in their own care. They administered eye drops to the rhino, and it worked. By the way, there's no word if the rhino had any trouble tilting his head back for those eye drops. Probably not. Jason Walker reporting.
At the Winter Olympics, the U.S. has won its 3rd gold medal in women's hockey, beating Canada 2-1. California's Alyssa Liu takes the gold in figure skating, ending a 24-year Olympic drought for the American women. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. This is a very special Friday. In studio, founder of the Nashville Tea Party, one of the guys responsible for the fact that we have no state income tax ever in the state of Tennessee, the one, the only, Ben Cunningham. Ben?
Michael, what a day. Mercy, this is a real surprise. I don't think most people expected it to come down this quickly. Grant had predicted this result, and I'm sure a lot of people have. But it's gonna have wide-ranging effects. The market, much to my surprise, is up this morning. I would have thought this would have had a real strong negative effect on the market, but so far it is moderately up. A few of the indices are down, but basically it's the reaction so far is it hasn't affected the market that much.
Well, I don't know about how to expect the market, because my personal kind of interaction with a lot of folks is that they were having difficulty planning a year ahead.
True.
Based on the uncertainty around tariffs. Now, the truth is there's all the more uncertainty, because what's the president going to do in response? If it was absolutely certain that he could impose this, you could at least try to plan around that, maybe. But in this case, you don't know. You don't, as we've said, we haven't seen a reaction from the White House, right?
Yeah, the ruling just came down. The case is Learning Resources Inc. v. Trump, and it was a 6-3 decision, stating that the president, his use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose these tariffs was unconstitutional. The dissenters were Kavanaugh, Thomas, and Alito, but the majority, the 3 left-wing liberals, were predictable: Kagan, Sotomayor and Ketanji Brown Jackson. But the curveball, which I think you anticipated, Grant Sterrett, graduate of Stanford University and Vanderbilt Law School, and the head of the Federalist Society here in Middle Tennessee, I guess statewide, perhaps, right?
I run the national chapter, and I run the national dinner, the state dinner. Yeah,
there you go. And the surprise, I think, a little bit to some people, but not to you, Justice Roberts, Justice Gorsuch, and Justice Barrett, Gorsuch and Barrett being Trump appointees, ruled against the president. Now, tell us why you were pretty sure that the president would lose this case with this current Supreme Court.
Yeah, I will say I couldn't exactly predict who was going to be on each side. But at the same time, it just, at the end of the day, there's a long tradition in which Supreme Court justices will kind of hew close to the person who appointed them, but as soon as that person's out of office, they try and find their own voice in some way or another. And in this case, I think that even though the president is back in office, you're seeing that finding their own voices. In fact, the most interesting thing is that Kavanaugh was on the other side of this equation, to me. And because you could see him going all in and taking, I mean, let's put it this way. Roberts and Kavanaugh have been the closest voting pair since Kavanaugh went on to the court. So this is a big disagreement between the two of them, as opposed to, say, Gorsuch, who's an academic, who likes to have hard rules on things. And by the way, for the most part, that's good. We want clear separation of powers. We want to know really clearly what one branch can do and what branch cannot. But as Thomas notes in his dissent, there's history here that has to be wrestled with. And what is it that the president has historically engaged in, and how does it interact with foreign policy, and what does that look like?
My guess is, and Ben Cunningham, you're looking for a reaction from the president on this. Do we have one yet?
No.
I think they were prepared for a loss. They have a plan, they say. I'm pretty sure they do, but I think this came earlier than they thought. And think about the timing of this. The president has warned Iran, you got 10 days to cut a deal. And the State of the Union speech is coming up. And by the way, the Supreme Court justices are going to be sitting in it. There's going to be some cold ice there. Remember Amy Coney Barrett, like kind of giving the evil eye to the president? Who knows on that?
Mom's eye.
Yeah, it's like, not good. Okay, so let's talk about the dynamics of the opinion. I have a theory. Would you like to hear it, guys?
Yes.
Okay. I think that Alito and Thomas, naturally would be the opponents. But once they saw that, and they have seniority, so they could have written the dissent. But they said, Kavanaugh's with us. We need him to be leading our views in the next generation, so let's have him write the dissent. I think that was the thinking of that. Now, I have a theory. Ready? I think the three lefties, obviously they were going to go. But the balance here was Barrett and Gorsuch. Now, they're both academics, right? And so they're going to think about rule. They're not going to think about the impact of this on the presidency. I think it was 5-3. And Roberts said, well, if I'm 5-4, I'll just write a dissent. I want to frame the opinion so that maybe we can give the president an exit strategy. That's my theory. What do you think of that?
It's possible. Roberts is an institutionalist. He, more than anything, wants to lower the temperature when he can while moving in a very particular direction.
President Trump did say this morning at a White House breakfast with governors that the 6-3 opinion was, quote, a disgrace, so fairly obvious, but stated that alternate authorities would be used to maintain trade objectives.
So that's like a breaking story.
Mm-hmm.
That just came out how long ago?
Don't know.
The opinion was announced about an hour ago. So it's within the last hour. Read that again, Ben, because it seems to be, he called it a disgrace.
During a White House breakfast meeting with governors on the morning of the ruling this morning, President Trump described the 6-3 opinion as, quote, a disgrace, but stated that alternative authorities would be used to maintain trade objectives.
Okay. You're our legal eagle, Grant. What alternative authorities will he look to?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm not a trade expert, so I can't say off the top of my head. But the truth is that we are so littered with laws across the federal government that who knows what authority he might tap, national security or otherwise.
Well, Grok, the new 4.2 version of Grok, lists 4 statutes that Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974, Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974. So apparently there are a number of trade-related statutes that he could possibly pursue.
Did you think that this would be 6-3? Grant, start with you.
I thought it might be 7-2.
Really?
Yeah.
You said Kavanaugh might go.
Yeah, yeah.
So the Kavanaugh-Roberts break is the big news if you're looking for any ray of sunshine here, Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is interesting, and like you say, it's going to be fascinating to dig into the Jackson's.
We'll get to that
opinion.
In our next segment, I'll go to the Jackson opinion with some lowlights. Here's the majority opinion from Roberts. Petitioners in learning resources and respondents in VOS selections filed suit alleging that the IEEPA, that's the Emergency Economic Powers Act, does not authorize the reciprocal or drug trafficking tariffs. The plaintiffs sued in U.S. District Court. The court denied the government's motion to transfer the case to the Court of International Trade. The Federal Circuit, sitting on banc, affirmed, concluding the grant of authority to regulate did not authorize tariffs. The court granted petition, and the holding is it does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. So there we go. When we come back, just for the heck of it, we'll hear from Ketanji Brown Jackson. Back after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Right now, union label legislators in Richmond are pushing to impose union monopoly bargaining on all Virginia state and local government workers. Unbelievable. That will cost taxpayers billions while reducing state and local government's flexibility to deliver services to constituents efficiently. In fact, years ago, the Heritage Foundation, they found that government monopoly bargaining in a state cost a family of 4 $3,000 in increased taxes per year. Let that sink in. $3,000 a year. Tell your legislators and Governor Spanberger in Virginia to oppose union monopoly bargaining over state and local government workers. Protect yourself, protect your paycheck, protect your money. Sign the petition. Go to VirginiaRightToWork.com. That's VirginiaRightToWork.com. 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 This message paid for by the National Right to Work Committee.
End the madness.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
So, well, you guys joining us to talk about all of these big things is Professor Alan Dershowitz.
I think the far more important issue, obviously, is Iran. I've known Bibi now, it's probably 55 years.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Frederick Media Network.
The reason he's coming is to give him intelligence that he won't give in any other way except in person in the Oval Office. And Iran is not Venezuela.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging calcium alpha-ketoglutarate, which has been clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We're analyzing the Supreme Court's 6-3 decision striking down the president's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act on tariffs. How's the market doing, Ben? Is it still
moderately up?
Well, it was a 6-3 decision.
And by the way, it's probably already baked in. I mean, that's the biggest answer, right? No one. This isn't a shocking opinion, right? So for the market, they probably they've already baked it in.
The only thing really shocking about it, to be honest, is the fact that it came so early. Yeah. I would say. So I think you're right. The market probably baked this in already. Okay, so this is important. We need to be looking at wiggle room that Justice Roberts may have given President Trump on tariffs, right? Because it's as Ben, as you've said, it's the centerpiece of his economic program, right? And he's wielded it to great effect.
Yep.
Let me read to you the concurring opinion of Justice Jackson, just the beginning of it. And it gets to the issue of wiggle room. Grant, as our resident member of the bar, here's what Justice Jackson wrote. I agree with the court's conclusion that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not provide the president with the power to tariff. 3 of my colleagues have reached this result via the major questions doctrine. That would be Roberts, Gorsuch, and Barrett. A framing that asks, in essence, whether Congress would likely have intended to delegate the authority to tariff the president through this law, International Emergency Economic Powers Act. While probing Congress's intent is the right inquiry, my colleagues speculate needlessly. In my view, the court can and should consult a statute's legislative history to determine what Congress actually intended the statute to do. Okay, Grant, illuminate us on what is the major questions doctrine.
Yeah, so this is a campaign, actually, that the conservative justices have been interested in, which is to say that when Congress chooses to delegate authority on something extremely significant, economically or otherwise, that they need to be extremely clear about what it is that they're delegating. They can't just say, President, figure it out. And that's generally a good thing. that we want that kind of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested in kind of what kind of wiggle room the Roberts opinion is giving, the liberals want to say, yeah, Congress can, anytime it wants, just say, President, do what you think is best, because it empowers the regulatory state. Roberts is saying that if indeed Congress intended to delegate this exact power to the president, then what is required is for Congress to say that exactly, whereas the dissent argues that nobody disputes that the president can impose a total embargo on places. So this is a relatively lesser thing. So why can't he impose something lesser? And it uses historical examples to cite that. When the three, the Roberts, Gorsuch, and Barrett are saying is maybe if Congress was explicit. Now, we still have a Republican majority in Congress. I mean, one of the things that we've talked about before is, why isn't the Republican majority in Congress validating so much of what Trump is trying to do? Why isn't DOGE written into law? Why isn't Congress being explicit about trying to have more permanent gains before, who knows, do we lose the House this November?
So are you suggesting that Congress could pass a law which is explicitly delegates to the president the authority to do these
That's
tariffs?
the implication of
that major question.
Of
They're
that,
saying, so Roberts and Barrett and Gorsuch, looking at this case, say, well, look, it fails the major questions doctrine. Is that what they're saying?
That is my understanding of what the liberals did not join as part of the opinion. Yeah. It's possible that there are other, again, it just came out, so I haven't read it, right? It's possible that there's that they're making separate arguments that says, oh, this can't even exist as an executive power, but that's distinct.
Yeah, exactly. Ben, do you think Congress would jump in and help the president out here?
This looks like there's all kinds of room for clarification here. And the Congress, as Grant says, they've had the opportunity to help the president out in so many ways, and they have been basically impotent. So there's not, frankly, a whole lot of optimism on my part that they'll jump in and help, especially in an election year.
What do you think? What do you think? Now, when is the State of the Union coming up? Just a couple weeks now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the president's message is going to be now? It's going to be a different message, isn't it?
It's going to be fascinating. I mean, certainly behind the scenes, they have been anticipating this possibility, and it's going to be interesting to see what strategy they employ going forward, whether or not they've really anticipated this. And what they're going to do about it. That's going to be really fascinating to see how much planning and how much, and how Trump reacts to it. Personally, these kinds of situations, he typically is kind of. It's hard to choose an adjective, but anyway, kind of blustering and, defiant.
Disgrace. That would be,
It was a disgrace, but what in fact
He's
now
spontaneous
can he
and
do?
raw.
Yes, that's right. Good adjectives. And so it's going to be really fascinating. You would think folks like Stephen Miller and the other of the folks that are really in charge of this kind of strategy would have a plan B. And according to Grok, there are a number of statutes that he could be used. Yeah.
Well, in the category of hate listen, let me read some more from Justice Jackson's concurrence. As Congress undertakes the legislative process, congressional committees and Senate House often generate official reports. Indeed, there is evidence that lawmakers themselves pay more attention to these reports than the statute's text to understand the statute's purpose. Okay. In contrast to the principle of dissent's rejection of committee reports as meanings of ascertaining a statute's meaning, I think these Senate and House reports are among the best evidence of what Congress sought to accomplish with its enactments. The evidence shows Congress did not intend for this act to authorize the executive to impose tariffs. That's a bit of a stretch, wouldn't you say, Grant?
Yes, of course. I mean, the Scalia's classic kind of critique of legislative history is that you're always looking for your friends. And so you've got one guy who says, oh, it's your interpretation. And now, oh, yeah, that's the interpretation. Look, I can quote a congressman or a senator who says that same thing.
I mean, it takes 218 to votes, yes. If one of those 218 says something that Justice Jackson likes, that she points to that for legislative intent.
And does anyone think that a congressman or senator reads the reports that are passed along with the legislature?
The answer to that, Ben, would be
file stuffers.
So, I mean, look, if you are a staffer in Congress, write the report exactly how you want it all to be interpreted. Every place that you actually lost in the actual text of the legislation, write the report to say, oh, no. It has a special arcane meaning to mean the thing that I really want. But it's not the way to actually, and it's not the law. That's the point. The reports are not the law. The only thing that is the law is what actually passes in the text.
Okay, so, I'm taking constitutional law with Judge Usman right now. And we talk about the different interpretive styles, originalism being one. Another one you just textualism, right? And what Justice Hugo Black was a big guy on, textualism. What does the law actually say?
Right.
What would Black say about this?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, Black, of course, was an FDR appointee who was part of the big New Deal shift. And so he had a pretty expansive view of what the government could do. And it's also, of course, this is actually really important history, which is to say that Congress actually gave FDR the ability to renegotiate tariffs, which had historically been more of a congressional kind of setting. And that is really kind of the basis of what Trump is arguing, is that Congress has given huge leeway to the president to negotiate trade. FDR did it in a much more liberalization way. Trump is doing it in a way that is trying to be more, at best, negotiating reciprocity.
Ben, can you put yourself in the mind of Stephen Miller right now? What's he thinking? What's he going to do?
I don't know. There's got to be a flurry of litigation in terms of refunding all of this. And my guess is Trump's going to dig his heels in and say, we're not going to refund any of this. Come get it. And so there's going to be a flurry of litigation, which will probably bring this back to the Supreme Court at some point.
Ben, you are exactly right. Trump is going to say, come get it, guys. And it's going to take years. He's not giving the money up. He is not giving the money up. I think you're exactly right. Hey, when we come back, we got some local Tennessee news. That's good in the judicial area. Back after this.
Interesting.
What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Ponder this. I was having lunch with a friend who was also interested in learning more about the Catholic faith in order to possibly convert. This friend also shared with me that she hated the President of the United States, Donald Trump. After further discussion, I mentioned to her that you cannot hate another person and be a Christian of any denomination. Hate is incompatible with loving Christ. Hate is not Christian no matter who our neighbor is. Sacred scripture clearly states that as long as we love one another, God remains in us. The inverse is also true. God cannot be in us if we do not love others, and that means everyone. God gave us two great commandments, to love Him and to love our neighbor. All other commandments flow from these two. Loving our neighbor means loving those who especially are difficult to love. Let's start today by loving those around us that are particularly difficult to love. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
From New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Let's keep it real. My white colleagues could never discuss this issue because they would be branded racist immediately. Welfare was one of the worst things that ever happened to black people.
Dominic Carter, weeknights on the John Fredericks Media Network.
I'm bold enough to do it, and I'm African American, and it's coming from a position of love.
Hit johnfredericksradio.com for showtimes in your city.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Well, folks, there's trouble of sorts in the Supreme Court with this 6-3 decision. A temporary setback for President Trump. I think our consensus on that, guys, is A, Donald Trump is going to dig his heels in. You want a refund? Come try and get it, buddy. Mm-hmm. And then also, he's going to go aggressively forward using other statutes and stick with the tariffs. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, so I mean, look, because we have a thicket of laws, the president can keep relying on new interpretations in order to try and do it. And assuming he didn't, do everything in that one case, which I can't imagine that they did. And so this is what empowers the president in a modern environment, is that he has practically endless resources to protect his policies through the law, and there's a lot of law.
He's going to dadgum well use them, too, I think. Okay, let's turn our attention to some good news here in Tennessee.
Yeah, so the Senate just confirmed Brian Lee to the Western District of Tennessee as a judge,
as a federal district court judge.
Correct. He's up until 5 seconds ago, he was at the Department of Justice, and he's a Clarence Thomas clerk. And so one of the things that we need to be extremely attentive to is getting good judges here at the state and federal level. We've also got a vacancy in Knoxville, and the magic of that seat is we might get a court of first resort in Tennessee. And what that means is that based on how cases are assigned, that you can file in Knoxville and get either this new vacancy or Katie Kreitzer, who's already an exceptional originalist judge. That would really change dynamics about where people would choose to bring law in this state and in the country.
So let's talk about. Go ahead, that bit.
I was going to say we hear so many different kind of narratives about how well the Senate is doing approving appointees.
Yeah.
What's your take?
Well, I mean, I don't know a global view on that perspective. I think that with regard to judges in particular, they have gone through nearly every appellate judgeship. We had Whitney Hermendorfer, who was confirmed here in Tennessee, who's another kind of originalist
Circuit
judge.
Court judge now. Whitney.
That's right.
And by the way, she is the only person who has clerked for now three Supreme Court justices, right?
I don't know if she's the only one, but it's extremely unusual.
Yeah, she clerked for Kavanaugh before he was on the court.
So we're getting some good people in there.
Now, of course, when I'm with Whitney, who's our Sixth Circuit Justice, and Matt Rice, who is our Solicitor General, he clerked for Thomas. I joke that between the three of us, we clerked for 4 Supreme Court justices.
Boom.
But the other person who was confirmed in December as part of a package was
Yeah.
Braden Busek, friend of the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I cannot wait for what he's going to unleash as our U.S.
Oh, he's
attorney.
already been unleashing stuff.
Yeah.
And he takes no prisoners.
That's right.
That's the key difference, right? Because a lot of these U.S. attorneys are like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's terrible." No, smash mouth, punch him in the face.
And I think I can say this. I mean, Braden was all out during the interviews.
Mhm.
I mean, he told them exactly what he wanted to do. And that was a little dangerous because sometimes you can say something that trips you up. No, they said, "We love it. Go full forward."
Wow.
Yeah, and he's confirmed. Now, let's go back to the Knoxville District Court.
Yeah.
What were we saying about that being a
court of first resort?
Yeah, so what does that mean?
Meaning that, so right now, for example, if you file in Nashville, you get randomly assigned to one of the judges in the Nashville courthouse.
And, you mean, if federal district court?
Correct, exactly.
Okay, so it's a federal district court of Middle Tennessee. And for our listeners, there are about 94 federal districts out there. And there's about 5 or 6 original federal district court judges in each district.
These are the guys that have been harassing Trump over so many issues, right?
A lot of them. Yeah,
Yes.
the trial court level.
That's right. And by the way, historically, who gets these jobs? A senator's golf buddy.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas with George W. Bush, they started to take a hard look at appellate judges and saying, are you originalist? Are you hardcore? Et cetera. Then it was still the case, even in the first Trump term, where they said, hey, whoever you got, let's throw them on here.
Mhm.
All right? And so, I mean, the truth is that Trump got 6 or 7 district judges in the last go-around in Tennessee, right? And they range in their fidelity to originalist principles.
Mhm. What a diplomat! What a diplomat! But back to this.
Yeah. So in other words, though, if again, assuming that we get this Knoxville seat filled and confirmed by a good person, and I have to say, Marsha Blackburn has been fantastic in advocating for originalist judges.
Yeah.
She's really, really good. I
Really
can't
good.
wait for her to be governor and take that same revolution to the state courts.
Because as it turns out, even here, I know this from personal experience, folks. The trial court judges here, particularly in Davidson County and Shelby County, are far left.
Yeah, well, of course, we'd have to change the Constitution to alter the trial court judges in Tennessee, but that doesn't mean that they can't do a better job of selecting the right judges for constitutional challenges.
So, by the way, so the trial court judges
are elected.
That's
right.
Not appointed.
Yeah.
But the appellate court judges
are appointed.
That's
right.
Which matters.
It matters a great deal.
But back to why would Knoxville be a court
of first resort, as I call
resort,
it. Yes. It means that if, Scrimetti, for example, sometimes brings things against the federal government, and if he were to file in Knoxville, he could be essentially guaranteed, assuming that they weren't trying to bind every person in the country, but do engage in the specific case at hand, they'd guarantee that they'd draw either Katie Kreitzer, who's an incumbent, or the other Republican.
So there are 3 federal districts in Tennessee.
Correct.
Not surprisingly, East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee, right? Because 3 grand divisions of Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Middle Tennessee, I also know this from personal experience, you got a liberal leaning.
Yes.
The entire, every single judge and the magistrates. And West Tennessee, it's a little better, and now it's gotten even more better.
Correct.
Right? But so that's why.
But again, it's randomized typically. And so, and by the way, West Tennessee, it gets randomized no matter what courthouse you're in. And so our chance of getting Lee on an important case is as many judges as there are.
Yeah.
Whereas in East, if we get the right person in Knoxville, then you will get one of those 2 judges.
So this is federal district court judges, which is basically, if you're the Attorney General of the state of Tennessee, you only have 3 choices, right? And you want to file a lawsuit. You can file it in West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, or East Tennessee. And what you're saying is in East Tennessee, if you have basically all conservative judges, that's
so
good.
I'm actually being a little bit more specific, which is to say that, like, for example, there's an Obama judge in Chattanooga. It matters what courthouse you file in, all right? And so it's not the case if they, I mean, and by the way, individual district courts can choose how much they randomize. Currently, in East Tennessee, if you file in Knoxville, you get a Knoxville judge.
Okay, now we're getting in the weeds here, but actually I understand what you're saying, because
it's fascinating.
Civil procedure, even within a federal district court judge, it's broken into like subsequent subsidiary geographic areas.
Correct.
Right. So in East Tennessee, you could file in Knoxville or Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Or maybe one other place, maybe Johnson City.
That's right.
Interesting. Okay, let's talk about the courts here in the state of Tennessee.
Sure.
There's some big news here. And just the trial courts in Tennessee are elected, but the appellate courts and the Supreme Court are appointed. A big win for originalism in the Court of Appeals. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Governor Lee nominated a lawyer who's the president of the Knoxville Bar Association, who had given to Hillary Clinton, who had given to other Democrats.
Hold it. Governor Lee's a Republican.
He did. He is, yes.
And he nominated...
Let's be very clear here.
But he nominated a Hillary Clinton supporting attorney to be an appellate
judge. Correct. Yes. Now, I should say...
Did she have any kind of conservative chops?
Not obviously, I should say. But I should say, to Bill Lee's credit, he also nominated a Supreme Court justice and another appellate judge who have sterling originalist credentials and have been involved.
Let us just say that he also helped the Supreme Court select
Jonathan Skrmetti, of course,
the very best attorney general in the country.
But
what typically happens? I mean, who advises him about these?
So he has a commission that screens them and gives him 3 choices. And then his counsel will review them, and then they'll interview with the governor, and then he'll choose based on that. And as I said, he had 3 vacancies. 2 of the vacancies were great, and the third is an outright Democrat who only clerks for a Democrat justice and who's the president of the Knoxville Bar Association. I want to say something else about that. The Knoxville Bar Association every year gives out a DEI award.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. They ask law firms to apply, in which they say what percentage of your partners are diverse, what percentage of your associates are diverse, what percentage of your vendors are diverse. And I think that something that we need to fight for as conservatives is, if you are involved in your local bar association, fine. What are you doing to fight their internal policies that are illegal, unethical, and liberal?
Yeah, hello. And they're the controlling agency.
Correct.
For the practice of law. Just as an aside. So, we at the Tennessee Star, we won the Dow Prize for the best local journalism in the country, which was a big deal.
Have you won any DEI awards? Because that's kind of what's really in vogue. So,
well, it's interesting you say that. Yeah. Because we were nominated for the Tennessee Bar Association Journalism Award. Not even a finalist on that. They gave it to like the Nashville Banner for some stupid investigation into DEI type stuff.
Yeah.
So that makes your point.
Well, you should be investigating DEI type stuff. That does feel like appropriate. I think we should have lots of awards for investigating DEI stuff.
Actually, they were saying how great it was. So,
that's the problem.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Isn't it so nice that tide is turning, though?
Yes.
Goodness gracious. I mean, how far down the road did we get? It's scary. And in blue states, it's still... And
And by the way, 2 great Tennesseans have been involved in that. Adam Mortara, who's here in Middle Tennessee, and Cam Norris out in East Tennessee.
Cam is great.
Cam's fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic.
So Adam was the trial lawyer for the Asians suing Harvard.
Yeah.
And then Cam argued it at the Supreme Court. 2 Tennesseans. They're fantastic.
We're going to go back in time in our next segment. We're going to go back to the era of just preceding the great James K. Polk. Ben has given me a gift. A book published in the late 19th century. 1888. The Tippecanoe Campaign of 1840. And Ben, there is a stunningly significant story about what happened in Nashville during that campaign. You're going to tell us that story and read from the book. And this, by the way, you've given me as a gift. Thank you. We'll be back with more after this.
They got a bill going up to allow casino gambling on your phone, not regulated.
They call it iGaming, and it's bad.
You put $10 in, it's gone. This is insane beyond belief.
Leads to loss of jobs, increased gambling addiction, putting families at risk.
How do you regulate it? How does the state tax it? Is it sponsored by the casinos?
No, this is another company that wants casino gambling on your phone in Virginia. Like my head is exploding.
Call 804-698-7400. Tell your senator vote no to iGaming.
I have no idea why Mamie Locke would introduce such a horrible bill.
This thing is probably going to pass if we don't stop it. Like my head is exploding.
Call 804-698-7400. Tell your senator vote no to iGaming. It's bad. Message paid for by the National Association Against iGaming.
Washington is wasting $500 million every year on a federal supervision system that doesn't work. Probation officers are overwhelmed. Resources are going to people who pose zero threat, while actual dangerous individuals slip through the cracks. The Safer Supervision Act stops the waste and refocuses every dollar on protecting families from harm. President Trump's own pollster found about 80% of Trump voters want this fixed. It's time for Congress to get this done. Stop the waste. Protect our communities. Visit safersupervision.com. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
So, well, you guys joining us to talk about all of these big things is Professor Alan Dershowitz.
I think the far more important issue, obviously, is Iran. I've known Bibi now, it's probably 55 years.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The reason he's coming is to give him intelligence that he won't give in any other way except in person in the Oval Office. And Iran is not Venezuela.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
Congratulations to my friend Michael Patrick Leahy on 9 years of journalistic excellence. I'm Lenny McGill, owner and founder of the Glock Store here in Nashville, Tennessee, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy's Tennessee Star Network for over 5 years. When we started, he was on just one local station. Now, he's on 20 stations. His motto, find the truth and report it. And as long as he sticks to that, we'll stick to being a sponsor. And next year, Michael, let's have a party for you right here at the Glock Store.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Before we step into the Tennessee time machine, backwards a century plus, let's finish the story. We forgot to bring it home, Grant. So the victory we had when Governor Leahy nominated basically, a liberal to the appeals court. What happened to that nomination?
So she withdrew, and after pressure from the legislature and the judiciary committees that talked about some of her past donations and history.
That's a win.
Mm-hmm.
A win for the good guys. So when you talk about this,
in the legislature, this is a vital advice and consent. This has not happened before,
mm-hmm.
and
that's the thing. It never happened before.
Yeah. Now we've only had 10 years of this kind of system.
Yeah,
but it's the first time that the legislature has exercised a vital muscle.
A nice precedent.
That's right. And look, the legislature is generally doing a great job.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, just on this, the legislature, it's a busy job and lots of stuff, and they get hit with all sorts of comments. The way to work with the legislature is to have time to talk to them, and then make your case, and don't scream at them.
Yeah.
Right? Just make your case. And a lot of people want to have them. You should do this. Well, okay, but they have to have the information, and that's a very key factor there.
Yes. Part-time guys making $30,000 a year.
Yeah, which by the way I love. I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the states that are ruined, California, New York, and even to a degree Ohio, once you get a full-time state legislature, they stop paying attention to their constituents. And
like Congress?
Hello. Okay, are we ready to travel in the Tennessee time machine? Ben?
Yes, indeed. Found this at the same bookstore that I found the other.
Just put it up for the camera so we can see. Okay, the book is called The Tippecanoe Campaign of 1840. It's published by Norton.
A.B. Norton's the author, and he this was just an account of the campaign to elect William Henry Harrison, who tragically only served 30 days. He died in office, and
it wasn't tragic. He was horrible.
Tippecanoe, by the way.
Yeah. Tyler was much better. So
the slogan was, to put it in context, Andrew Jackson served as president for 8 years. In 1836, his vice president, Martin Van Buren,
the little magician,
was elected from Kinderhook, Old Kinderhook. Okay, they come from Old Kinderhook. That's where the term originated, they tell me. And so he was president for 4 years. 1840, the Whigs put forward the war hero.
Let me just say, though, let me give some love for Martin Van Buren. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Martin Van
Buren. It's been a while since he's had any love.
So there was a financial crisis in
1837.
Correct, exactly. Unfortunately, Jackson was generally correct, but there were some consequences associated with that. And what Van Buren did, which was incredibly courageous, was he refused to bail out the states that had made all kinds of bad investments. Mm-hmm. And over the course of the next dozen years, almost every state puts in force a balanced budget amendment.
Boom.
And so that makes him one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. He enforced fiscal discipline not only at the federal government, but at the state level too.
But he looked kind of like a munchkin with sideburns. Ben, so let's get this. So William Henry Harrison was called Tippecanoe. He won the Battle of Tippecanoe in the War of 1812 against Tecumseh, I guess, and a couple of other Indians. And to balance the ticket, they brought in John Tyler. And he was, 70 years old when he ran. And so tell us the story about.
Well, this is just it's a fascinating account of the campaign, and this according to several scholars that I've read after researching the book, the campaign had some of the features of modern campaigns for the first time. There were huge rallies, and one of the huge rallies was in Nashville. And
Andrew Jackson, was still
obviously
alive.
Was a favorite son.
Yeah,
Nashville. president. And the speaker at the big Nashville rally, which they said was about 20,000 people. Now, the population of Nashville at that time was only about 6,000.
Yeah.
So this was a huge thing, and he recounts the delegations coming in from all the states. I mean, it was a really big deal, and this was the primary campaign tool.
Who was the speaker?
Henry Clay was
from
the
Kentucky,
speaker.
who hated Jackson.
Who absolutely
and wanted to
hated
bail out all the states.
Boom.
Jackson. And there's this detailed account of his speech where he has to kind of thread the needle. He's in Nashville, and he doesn't want to criticize Jackson too much, but he's damning him with faint praise, and it's just a fascinating. And the crowds, I wondered, how in the world does a speaker get his message out to 20,000 people without modern audio equipment? And the answer, apparently, you may know more about this, is that the crowd has to be kind of the part of the speech. In other words, he says something in these grand tones, and the crowd kind of transmits it back out through the crowd. And the crowd was expected to be as much of the event as the speaker. And it was just kind of this back and forth, almost this kind of theatrical performance.
Call response.
With the crowd going back and forth. But anyway, he was effective, and he won by 11 points. William Henry Harrison took Tennessee and defeated in Van Buren
and then
in Tennessee.
He spoke in the rain, caught a cold, died, and John Taylor became president. Grant Sterrett, head of the Federalist Society for Middle Tennessee. Thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here.
And Ben Cunningham, Nashville Tea Party founder. Thanks for joining us.
Great fun.
When we come back, we're going to Washington, D.C. Our man in Washington, I think he might be at the White House today. The one, the only, Neil McCabe joins us.
John Fredericks Media on YouTube is all that and more. Wake up to watch the John Fredericks Show live and stay on top of the news you need to know. Rewatch your favorite guest interviews, follow John's national media appearances, and dig into the archives of America's Godzilla of Truth. All that and more. It's John Fredericks Media on YouTube. Hit YouTube, search John Fredericks Media, subscribe, bookmark it, log in today. John Fredericks Media on YouTube. Trump 2.0 is in full effect. How do you keep up with all the action? I'll tell you. TrumpNationNews.com. Inside scoop, manufacturing, jobs, deportations, and the nation's rejuvenation. The first 100 days and beyond. All the news you need and no liberal gibberish. It's the perfect way to start your day. Sign up for the TNN newsletter. Do it today. TrumpNationNews.com. TrumpNationNews.com. Part of the John Fredericks Media Network. The Katz and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
So, well, you guys joining us to talk about all of these big things is Professor Alan Dershowitz.
I think the far more important issue, obviously, is Iran. I've known Bibi now, it's probably 55 years.
Katz and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The reason he's coming is to give him intelligence that he won't give in any other way except in person in the Oval Office. And Iran is not Venezuela.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio Show.
WENO Nashville, KQPN West Memphis. Get your winning plays and parlays from Godzilla Wins. Saturdays at 7 a.m. or click GodzillaWins.com.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The Supreme Court has struck down President Trump's far-reaching global tariffs, handing him a significant legal setback on an issue central to his economic agenda. Friday's 6-3 decision centering on tariffs that he unilaterally imposed under an emergency powers law, including the sweeping reciprocal tariffs levied on nearly every other country.
The president has been vocal about the case, calling it one of the most important in U.S. history. But legal opposition crossed the political spectrum.
That's correspondent Lindsay Whitehurst, who says administration officials have indicated they'll probably keep the tariff framework in place, but use a different source of authority to justify it. President Trump says he'll decide within the next 10 days whether to order a U.S. military strike on Iran. But at the annual National Religious Broadcasters Conference in Nashville, one expert says Iran's mountainous terrain combined with various ethnic factions would make that very difficult. Dr. Glenn Doer is the professor of international studies at Cedarville University in Ohio.
There's an estimated 130 different nuclear sites that, when pieced together, could lead to the breakout of a nuclear weapon. And so finding all of that information, making sure that factions don't fight. I don't think anyone will want to go into Iran, but we also need to stop them from striking Israel.
The National Religious Broadcasters 2026 conference continues today in Nashville. UPS drivers being offered $150,000 buyouts.
A lawyer for the International Brotherhood of Teamsters told a judge Thursday that the union expects over 10,000 United Parcel Service drivers to accept $150,000 buyouts if the delivery giant is allowed to proceed with a planned workforce cutting program. An attorney for the union representing over 320,000 UPS workers is urging a federal judge to block UPS from moving ahead with the buyouts, alleging the buyouts violate the national contract.
That is correspondent Bill Alexander, and more from townhall.com.
This month, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And you'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
With the Midday Wall Street Business Report, here's Rich Thomason.
A key gauge of inflation picked up in December. It's a sign that many prices are still rising more quickly than most Americans would like, and faster than the Federal Reserve's target of 2% a year. The figures show inflation remains elevated, even as it has come down from a peak of near 7% in 2022. Following a robust expansion over the summer months extending into the fall, the government reports the U.S. economy's growth slowed in the final quarter of last year. The last hospital system in the New York nurses' strike has reached a tentative deal to end the city's biggest nursing walkout in decades. Oil prices have eased a day after jumping to their highest level since early August. The increase was sparked by rising fears that the U.S. and Iran could be headed toward a military showdown. I'm Rich Thomason.
You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Germany's chancellor about to become the latest Western leader to pay a visit to communist China.
Friedrich Merz will make his first visit since taking the helm of Europe's biggest economy. He'll travel to China next week and will be received in Beijing by the Chinese foreign minister and by President Xi. The German leader will also visit southeastern China. Germany has tried in recent years to maintain solid ties with China despite wariness over Beijing's growing assertiveness, while also looking to avoid over-reliance on trade with China. Rich Thomason reporting.
Recovery efforts for 8 skiers killed in the deadliest U.S. avalanche in nearly 5 years remain on hold as a powerful storm continues to pound California's Sierra Nevada range. Authorities say the weather has triggered the risk of new avalanches in the very same backcountry area where one skier is still missing 2 days after that slide. More details at townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are joined on our newsmaker line right now by our man in Washington, the Real America Voice correspondent at the White House, the one, the only, Neil W. McCabe. Good morning, Neil.
Michael, very good to be with you, sir.
So what is the reaction right now to the stunning news this morning that the Supreme Court ruled in a 6-3 ruling against Donald Trump's use of the International Emergency Powers Act to impose tariffs. It's seen as a blow to the president's major economic agenda, and yet Wall Street apparently had it baked in and is not really reacting in a negative way. What's the buzz at the White House on this?
Well, the feeling is that this can be cleaned up by Bessent with using other authorities. And so there was some, I'm just looking from the outside looking in. What I read the tea leaves is that the Justice Department thought they could make this argument, and they made their arguments. The Treasury had other tools that they're available to them. They went ahead with this 1977 law that was meant to create sanctions and seize foreign assets and whatnot. But, the Supreme Court said it was a stretch. It was filed in April. It was argued before the Supreme Court in November. Those arguments did not go well for Solicitor General John Sauer, who's had great success representing Trump as both president and a private citizen. He's the one who argued successfully for presidential immunity. I mean, so, Sauer is a great Solicitor General. He's a great Supreme Court attorney, but it just wasn't in the cards for this one. And I think a lot of it was baked in. A lot of people figured it out. The question is the refunds, right? If this thing is raised, $300 billion, $400 billion, that's a big check to write. And it's almost like when you go to dinner with 12 friends, right? And you tell the waiter, separate checks. And the waiter just looks at you like, I should just flip over this table and quit, right? So you literally are going to have thousands of people requesting refunds. So and there's no process. There's no bureaucracy for this.
Yeah, so our assessment here, we had Grant Sterrett, the head of the Federalist Society for Middle Tennessee, and Ben Cunningham, National Tea Party. We looked at this, and I think, here's what I think the Trump administration is going to say. You want a refund? Come and try and get it.
Well, Kavanaugh, in his dissent, Kavanaugh wrote the dissent with Alito and Clarence Thomas. Kavanaugh said this thing was clearly legal, whether it was wise policy or not wise policy, clearly lawful, and the majority is being absolutely irresponsible to just kick it down to the lower courts to figure out.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got something there. What it really speaks to is the structural problem of Trump 45 is that he is not getting the support from Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
And, people are all, MAGA people, influencers, all these other people in the media and whatnot, they're always bashing administration officials and the president for not following through. You campaigned on this, you campaigned on that. A president can only go as far as Congress lets him. Biden was allowed to do whatever he wanted because the Republicans loved him for getting rid of Trump. And of course, the Democrats loved him because he was a Democrat and he was just feeding the pigs with the slop. And so Trump didn't need this. Trump could have been given this authority by the House and Senate. He controls, right? Republicans are in charge of all this stuff, but he doesn't get that. And so I really think the message to people who care about this administration, which is a MAGA administration with a MAGA president doing MAGA things, is get Capitol Hill on the stick to back the president. Because when you blast Trump in the administration, the message Capitol Hill hears is, the president isn't popular anymore. And that gives me more freedom to ignore him.
Yeah, you raise a good point. Now, we've got the State of the Union address coming up. Here's what I think the president's going to do, and this is just, from me sitting in our studio in Nashville. You're up there. You're talking to all these players, right? I think the president is going to say, the Supreme Court made a decision. This morning he called it a disgrace, right? You probably saw that. And he said, we have other alternatives. I think he's going to say, you want a refund, try and get it. That's going to be tied up in the courts forever. Then they're not going to get it. And then I think very shortly, and probably before the State of the Union, he's going to issue additional tariffs using some of the other authorities that he has. And he's going to basically say, all right, Congress, step up, and at least the three conservative, quote, conservative justices who ruled against him said, well, this is a major questions issue. I think he's going to say, okay, let's give Gorsuch, Roberts, and Barrett a major questions authority to me, delegate to me, Congress, the ability to do these tariffs. I think he's going to do those three things. What do you think?
Well, I think all those three things are great, and I think there are different ways of addressing it. I think obviously Bessent is the most reliable of all. If you consider a guy who's so important and so reliable, you think about Rubio, so reliable, so important. Kristi Noem, so reliable, so important. These are things that he didn't have in Trump 45 in these three departments, frankly. So yeah, I think they'll figure out a way. I think that he may try to do things using his presidential authority, using other laws or whatnot. But the bottom line is, the Republicans on Capitol Hill are not getting it done. If you look at when Democrats have a new president and control of the House and Senate, in those first 2 years, what do? The New Deal, the Great Society, Dodd-Frank and Obamacare, right? The all of the infrastructure and the anti-inflation bill, whatever that thing was called under Biden. Right? Biden threw $3 trillion on top of the federal budget in his first 2 years. It was great. Build Back Better, all that stuff. Just waved through. The Republicans helped write the bills. Trump doesn't get any of that stuff.
Jonathan Turley basically just commented on this decision. The George Washington University law professor, who's a Fox News contributor, he said, quote, "There's a lot of runway still for the administration. The administration has other tools in its toolbox. It can actually impose tariffs under other statutes."
And you just so retroactively say, you know what, paperwork glitch, we meant to use this law, not that law.
I think that's what they're going to do. I think he's not going to step back one bit. And I think he's going to be very aggressive on this because that's in his DNA, right? I mean, you're in the White House. Wouldn't you say that?
Well, let's just say that the State of the Union address, when John Roberts and the Supreme Court take their seats and Trump starts speaking, I'm guessing he's going to go off script, and that will be must-see TV.
Well, Amy Coney Barrett already gave him the evil eye last year, right?
Yeah, well, listen, it's like, and I'm sure she's still bitter that President Trump had the temerity to put her on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, she's bitter about it, apparently. Look, I read her book. It's a nice book, but she has the same problem that Gorsuch has, which is they're academics and they're trying to do this, ethereally from some kind of, a view of the world that doesn't exist.
Well, Gorsuch, too, like his dear mother was Ann Buford at the EPA. So he should appreciate what a pack of jackals the left is in Washington, D.C., and what they did to his mother.
Yeah. But he doesn't.
When he was an appellate judge, he wore a McGuire tie, which is his mother's maiden name.
Neil, stick around, and after the break, I want to talk about, back to the issue of Congress and White House relations. Anything new on that? And we'll hear from Neil McCabe after the break.
Hi folks. John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just 1 scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our newsmaker line by the great Neil W. McCabe, our man in Washington. Neil, what's the vibe in the White House today versus the vibe in the House and the vibe in the Senate?
Well, of course, the House and Senate they've taken off for a home work period, but they'll be back next week for the State of the Union. And I think really what you have is the White House is gearing up for the State of the Union.
Mm-hmm.
So in Washington, D.C., the calendar is more important than politics or policy. The calendar is what drives everything. The legislative season runs from the State of the Union through the 4th of July. After the 4th of July, nothing gets done. People take off for July and August. There might be hearings and press conferences and things. But then after Labor Day, people come back home having heard how upset their constituents are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and then you have the budget and the continuing resolution and the stop and the start. And then, all fall, you have Columbus Day, you have Veterans Day, you have Thanksgiving, and then you have Christmas. And if nobody's come up with anything by Christmas, right, then they basically just tell you, you can't go home for Christmas unless you pass something. Now we have the midterms in 26.
Mm-hmm.
So, there've been some firings, there's been some people have left, but basically the no scalps rule has held for the first year of Trump 47. I believe they will continue to have a no scalps rule until after the midterm. and then whatever happens in the Senate, they're going to have they'll basically clear the decks and have the confirmation hearings to basically put in the new team. By the time a year from now, when we reset for the State of the Union again, you'll then have the new cabinet and administration in place, to hit it for the last 2 years. But the State of the Union is the big push, and they need a fight. They didn't have a fight before. Now I think with the SAVE Act they have a fight.
Yeah.
But with these tariffs they have a fight. And remember, it's like Reagan was washed up and set by 78, right? In 68, he became a national figure. Well, he was already a movie star and everything, but as the governor of California, he had the state police beat up all the protesters in Berkeley, and he went toe-to-toe with all the hippies, and he was a hero, right? The late 60s, right? It had been 10 years. In 78, it had been 10 years since all those protests. Everybody was saying, well, what's Reagan still doing on stage? What's this thing about? But he grabbed the Panama Canal. And from the Panama Canal, he was off to the races. With Trump, it was East Palestine, that train wreck and crash and chemical spill, and he grabbed it. And from there, it was off to the races. He needs to grab some issue and run with it. And, there's a lot of people in the White House who, frankly, they want everything quiet. They want everything calm. They want a nice little, they basically want to just hang out quietly for the next 3 years and then just leave without a care in the world. And there's other people who want to get stuff done. There's other people, it's like, to make an omelet, you have to crack some eggs.
Neil,
let's see if somebody cracks some eggs.
Speaking of cracking eggs, you may have received this information, but since you're the White House guy for Real America's Voice, you're probably going to have to jump off because the president has just said he's going to hold a press briefing at 12:45 Eastern, 11:45 Central on the Supreme Court's tariff decision. So
fantastic.
What do you think he's going to? What do you think he's going to say?
I think he's going to blast it.
Yeah. I've got one comment here from this. So Caroline Levitt just put this out literally 23 minutes ago, right?
Okay.
And we got one comment. Double the tariffs. That's what one person is saying. I think you're absolutely right. I think he's going to blast it. And he has two issues now, doesn't he? The SAVE Act and the tariffs decision.
1,000%.
Which is energizing. I think Speaker Johnson, who's a constitutional attorney, is going to back the president whatever he does on tariffs 100%. That's my view. You're up there. I mean, I just see what.
Yeah, the problem is that Tom Emmer in the last session was working with Thomas Massie to run a mutiny on Johnson.
Really?
And
Tom Emmer's from Minnesota, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and Massie is the quote libertarian teenager.
Yeah, he's a rebel. He's a rebel this session.
Yeah,
but last session he was on. He may still be on rules, but he's on the Rules Committee. He backed McCarthy, and basically Massie had become a leadership guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Johnson came in, and it's basically Massie and Emmer were working on a coup on Johnson, but Trump has backed Johnson so completely that there was no way to do it. Now, Emmer's not considered the most conservative guy, but this is the tension in the Republican Party, right? Do you want somebody who's competent, who could actually run the place, or do you want somebody who's loyal to your agenda? And a lot of times we say, all right, well, we need somebody competent who can run the place. He's just going to blow up our agenda and fire all our people. Or we could have somebody we trust and we love, but he doesn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. So
Johnson is not running the House like we've seen other people run the House.
How is he running it?
I don't even know if he's running it. I don't know if he could find it if it wasn't for a motorcade.
Ooh, that's kind of rough. But what about Thune in the Senate?
Well, Thune is a leading opponent of the president, and he always has been. He was he ran as a hardcore conservative, he was a Tea Party congressman, right? He said he beat Tom Daschle in that epic election with the first Senate Majority Leader to lose in the general, right? So the leader of the Senate Democrats was taken down by Thune because Thune said he would eliminate the estate tax, which was destroying family-owned businesses, farms, and ranches, especially in his state.
Yeah, big in South Dakota. That when
not only has he never lifted a finger to eliminate the estate tax, he's the one who put it back in when the House took it out of the 2017 tax bill because his buddy Mike Rounds was getting money from the life insurance lobby. So whatever. I mean, that's Thune. He has deputy whips, right, who are supposed to get the president's agenda passed. Like Tom Tillis is one of his deputy whips. Todd Young is a deputy whip. These are your whips, right? Guys who hate the president are actually on the Republican Senate leadership team. So what can you say about Thune?
Well, that says it all right there, I guess, right? I mean, so it doesn't sound to me like Thune is going to use the standing filibuster or the talking filibuster.
These guys think that the institution of the Senate is more important than the agenda.
Interesting. Yeah, and we've got
so it's like, okay, I would rather have a strong Senate than keep a democracy.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where they are, right?
Yeah. And it's like, Grassley and Thune have said to the Democrats, you have the ability to block MAGA prosecutors and judges in your state.
And they're sticking with that. Hey, let me shift gears in the remaining 4 minutes that we have, Neil, because I know you got to hit this president's press conference in just a few minutes. Neil, president's given Iran a warning of 10 days.
Right.
Do you think the president is currently planning military action against Iran? And what would that be?
It's going to be strikes. I'm not sure how. There won't be the ground troops, conventional or special operations we saw in Venezuela. It'll be a more conservative, more conventional operation like we saw against the Houthis like a year ago. Watch the USS Gerald R. Ford as it steams it's been released from duty off the coast of Venezuela. In 4 days, it passes the Straits of Gibraltar. In 24 hours, it will be on station at the exit of the Suez Canal, and it will be in an operating box off the Suez Canal. We also have ships in the Red Sea and in the area, but you'll have the Gerald R. Ford strike group, and then you'll have the Abraham Lincoln strike group, which is already in the Gulf of Oman. And then it's like, so basically when Trump says, 10 days, a week, whatever, when the Ford is on station, the talking is over.
Which is like 5 days from today, right?
Yeah, because it's the American style of war that we build up and you watch us the whole time. We don't care. Our enemies watch us and we build and we build and we build. And then that's your time to talk. And you're not sure when we're ready, but when you're ready, you should probably go to the bunkers, Ayatollah. The thing you have to look at, too, when you see American military ramp up, fuel. Military can't operate without fuel. They moved 40 air tankers to the Middle East in the last week.
So basically, they're staging. They're staging. They're preparing.
And there was the Taliban or the insurgents in Iraq didn't have an air force. The Iranians have an air force, right? So now you have they have missiles. CENTCOM is moving Patriot missile batteries from other locations into the Middle East to join the order of battle.
Neil W. McCabe,
there you go.
Thank you for your analysis. You've got to go. You got to talk the president's press conference.
I got a thing to do.
You got something to do. You got to
right,
ask the president a question.
Michael.
Thanks, Neil. All right, we'll be back with more after this. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
everyone. EJ Haast here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, our entire plan for the day was blown up when the Supreme Court decided against the Trump tariff 6-3. In our News Potpourri segment, in about 15 minutes, we may have a live press conference from Washington, D.C., Donald Trump reacting. But in the interim, I want to talk about other elements of the existential crisis facing the United States of America. I'm going to get at it a couple ways. And our theme here has always been the United States is the last bastion of freedom in the world. And let's begin by looking directly to our north with a country that we have a long relationship with, but now is turning against us. And I'm talking about Canada. I mean, they are going full-on Marxist, authoritarian leftist. You want an example of that? They're now going to be hiring foreign mercenaries to populate their army. What could possibly go wrong? Clip 2.
We're also adding categories for candidates with work experience in transport occupations, including pilots, aircraft mechanics, and inspectors. We've identified these sectors as areas in critical need. Strengthening those helps us move goods across the country and to new markets, supporting trade, supply chains, and economic resilience. And finally, we are creating a new category for skilled military recruits to attract highly skilled foreign military applicants. Eligible recruits with a job offer from the Canadian Armed Forces, including doctors, nurses, pilots, can be invited to apply for permanent residence. They will be subject to the same security and all military requirements. This new category will support our government's commitment to strengthen our armed forces, to defend our sovereignty, and to keep Canadians safe. This category and other priority categories supports Canada's defense industrial strategy, which Prime Minister Carney announced yesterday.
Yeah, okay, what does this mean? Look, they're part of the British Empire. And remember, the Brits hired a bunch of Hessians from Germany to act as mercenaries. Didn't go so well for them, did it? And now it's very clear what the Canadians are doing. They can't fight because they've got DEI. Their armed forces are a joke, and they can't defend themselves. And they're mad at the United States for pointing that out. And so what are they going to do? Well, clearly, if you're China, if you're communist China, who Mark Carney's already bent the knee to, you're going to take all of your Chi-Com pilots and you're going to say, hey, here you go. Let's get them in the Canadian Air Force. You think a Chi-Com pilot flying a Canadian bomber over, I don't know, Toronto might take a left turn and bomb Buffalo or New York City? I think so. That's where this is headed. So Canada, I'm sorry to say, there was a period of time, you may recall this, a friend of mine by the name of James Bennett wrote a book, I think about 2010, about the rise of the Anglosphere. In other words, he predicted, or he said, that the way to maintain Western civilization was to strengthen the ties of those countries that are based upon the English Anglo-American concepts of the rule of law, individual liberty, etc. And he said, look, the strength is going to be between the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, right? English-speaking countries whose rule of law is based on the English tradition. It's gone, man. It's gone. The United Kingdom, they don't even believe in freedom of speech anymore, right? And, oh, wait for it. We have the Prime Minister of Australia talking about, in essence, propagandizing kids to be authoritarians. Clip 13.
One of the things about public schools is that they're open to everyone. Open to everyone. And that is about people being able to participate of different faiths, different backgrounds, learn and engage from each other. I always love going into public schools as well, because for those who, with the rise in some of the far-right ideological positions in recent times, one of the things about going, and it's the same particularly whether it's an early learning centre or into a primary school, kids don't see race, religion, gender, anything else. They just see other kids. Hatred and division is something that's learned.
Okay, so what's he saying here? He's saying hatred and division. Now, what he's saying is, we like public schools in Australia because we can propagandize kids against liberty. That's what he's saying. So we got that going on. But it's not just in Canada and in Australia and the United Kingdom where the rule of law is threatened and where kids are being propagandized by the public school teachers unions. No, it's here in Nashville as well. We got a couple examples of that. Two problems. One is an increasing number of teachers are sexual predators of minors, and they're being forced to teach things that the parents wouldn't like. Let's start off with clip 5 about a Nashville teacher.
Developing here at 303, a Nashville high school teacher is now facing charges for allegedly trying to have sex with a minor after an interaction online. Cookeville police arrested Jonathan Jones because of the joint investigation with Metro Police. They say back in November, they started looking into some online messages between Jones and a minor. Metro Schools says Jones taught math at Pearl Cone High School until they were notified on his arrest yesterday. We're told he's now on administrative leave. The alleged crime did not involve a student at Pearl Cone.
Okay, so we got that going on. Now, here's another local story of a first grade teacher at a public school, a charter school. It's called KIPP. And he objected to reading to his first graders a pro-gay, pro-LGBTQ book, and he was relieved of his duties and reassigned. Clip 16.
The teacher said this all started with a first grade reading lesson involving this book about a child and her two dads. Now, his attorneys say the school should have accommodated to his religious beliefs. The school has not yet responded publicly.
The teacher works at KIPP Antioch College Prep Elementary, a public charter school. He says the issue started when his class was assigned the book Stella Brings the Family.
I refused to read a book that had two fathers on the cover and one daughter, and I believe that is not what God designed a marriage to be and a family to be. So I asked for religious accommodations.
He says the school initially let another teacher read it, but the next day he was given a final warning telling him to teach the lesson or risk termination. Now a legal group has sent a demand letter arguing federal law requires schools to accommodate religious beliefs.
Well, not only that, they shouldn't be teaching this to first graders, right? But that's what the teachers, public schools are doing. We have another example of that right here in Nashville, where some high school students have been propagandized for the left. Right in affluent Williamson County, you had a whole bunch of kids from Ravenwood High School, and I think some from Brentwood as well, going out. And in essence, they were they were protesting ICE actually enforcing the law. Let's play that, clip 19. Okay, well, that's a video of the kids out there. We got that in Tennessee. We have another illustration of the craziness of the promotion, if you will, of left-wing anti-American ideology in public schools. Here is a clip. There, a middle school in Dundee Middle School, I think it's in Illinois, where a special needs sixth grader was forced to be part of the anti-ICE protests, and they just left him there. Let's play this clip right now. Clip number 10.
This afternoon, a mother says she just wants answers after her special needs son is found wandering miles away from his school when he was supposed to be in class.
I don't feel safe. I'm just scared to go back. There's something could happen that same day again.
11-year-old Richard Harley says he doesn't want to go back to class after he was found wandering, scared and alone, miles away from school grounds following a student-led walkout protesting ICE.
They're supposed to stay on 72, by the school, but they did the exact opposite. It went just way more farther, and no one even knew how far they were going.
So you kind of got
separated. I was the last one, so I was all alone.
They abandoned this kid. It's crazy. Oh, but wait, there's more. In Ohio, public high school students, anti-ICE, guess what they did? They invaded a Kroger. Why? I don't know why. Apparently they thought Kroger was supporting the enforcement of immigration law. Let's play this clip right now, clip 21.
Chaos at the Kroger in North College Hill, all captured this afternoon on camera here. Thanks a lot for joining us at 11. I'm Mike Dardis.
And good evening to you. I'm Cherie Palello. Video from a shopper inside shows dozens of high school students tearing through the store and throwing things from the shelves. Tonight we're hearing from police, school leaders, and the man who took that video. Our Daisy Kershaw live for us in North College Hill tonight with it all. Hi, Daisy.
Hi, Cherie. Mike, police say that they were aware of a student-led protest against ICE earlier today. Officers even helped with traffic during that protest. But tonight, they're saying that what followed afterwards inside a nearby Kroger store was anything but peaceful.
That's North College.
A couple hundred of juveniles reported
walking in the roadway towards the Kroger with signs?
I was just in Kroger, and I was doing just a daily shop. A group of students came in rolling real fast, 50-plus students.
That's crazy.
They started chanting about what been going on around the country.
McAdrian Martin among the shoppers left in shock.
Just info, there's a scheduled walkout by the students from the school, so you may get other calls.
They was coming from all directions, so not only for my checkout, but they was coming into the main entrance, into the side entrance. They was just all coming at once.
Martin took out his phone to capture the commotion.
A lot of the students went into the beer section, into the wine and the alcohol section, and they was throwing cans and bottles. The ceiling is kind of off right now because they was throwing the bottles and cans so high up.
Martin says a man was hit.
A customer got hurt. He was highly upset at the fact that he was just coming to the store to shop.
Okay, this is, this is basically political activism from propagandized young kids, endorsed by the public schools in Ohio in this particular incident. What's got to happen there is they need to be expelled, and they need to be charged with vandalism. Will that happen? Depends. Is the district attorney a Republican and a conservative, or are they a Democrat? Hey, we'll have more when we get back. We might be joining Donald Trump live at his press conference responding to the Supreme Court decision. But if not, we'll do News Potpourri. Back after this.
Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, folks, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of irony. In this case, I think it's, anger, fury. There's a report. President Trump was scheduled to begin his statement 5 minutes ago at 12:45. As is the case, usually these are a little bit late. As soon as he comes on, we will bring it to you if it happens in the next 8 minutes. And then Scott Bessent, Secretary of Treasury, will come on at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Look, I can tell you right now they're going to come guns a-blazing, and they are not backing down one bit. And they will criticize the Supreme Court decision, and they've got alternatives. Now, we've got this clip. I got to play it for you. One of our themes is how terrible the public school teachers have been in indoctrinating our kids. Here is a tranny legislator, a biological male who has become a female in Minnesota, no surprise there, who's talking about how important it is to allow young children to watch porn in school. I kid you not.
You mentioned the Paxton case. And the AGs in many states are very clear about that. They're almost jubilant about being able to use these laws to ban young people from accessing content that could be educational if they are queer. And you're a principal, you have LGBT students in your school, and we also know that they're not receiving sex education for queer kids. We know that prurient interest could be, for many people, the very existence of transgender kids. More and more people are saying there simply are no transgender kids.
Well, that's because there are no transgender kids, you idiot. Okay. We've got a mental health problem, which has dominated the Democrat Party. About 10 years ago, they said, we're not doing so well. We got to find an issue. And the issue that they found, is to manipulate kids, create social contagion and mental illness to promote this ridiculous idea of transgenderism. But there we are. We've got a report here that the president was furious about the tariff ruling. Now, we haven't heard from him yet, and we'll see. Maybe he's toning it down a little bit. I don't think so, but we'll hear from him shortly. Other stories. This is good news. 300 Northern Virginia students have been suspended for leaving school property to protest ICE. That's surprising, Northern Virginia. Hundreds more have been suspended in Texas and Florida. That is a very, very good thing. So we got that going on today. Other things that are going on. That's interesting. Here's a report. Epstein got a special treatment from U.S. Customs officers when he was traveling. Isn't that crazy? Also, we saw this. Did you see this? I watched the interview last night. Remember the story about this Robert Durgan, otherwise Roberta, Hernandez or whatever he called himself, the transgender man who went into a hockey game, killed his wife, killed one of his children, wounded another child, and he was stopped by a dad who was there, a hockey dad behind him, who basically jumped in and he gave his report. Wow. It was pretty stunning, and the guy was pretty modest. The guy, was unarmed, and he basically, when he saw what was happening in front of him, he turned to his wife and he said, "Get out, leave right now." And his wife left. But he went and he saw this transgender guy who was shooting, and he jumped at him, and he jammed his hand into the pistol. In fact, his hand was injured, but he got him, and he got the guy down on the floor. And when they're down on the floor, they weren't saying, they were struggling, and a couple of other guys came along to help him. The tranny looked at him, reached into his pocket, and got another gun, and Interestingly enough, he didn't shoot the guy who had stopped him. He killed himself. Now, you talk about bravery. That was really instantaneous reaction and bravery. And I was watching the clip of this hockey dad, very modest about it. Very modest about it. And he said, my wife later said, when his wife went out, she thought, and left the hockey rink, she thought he was right behind him. He wasn't, right? He was stopping the killer. And their son was going to attend with him and didn't. And the wife told the hero dad, well, I'm glad our son wasn't there, because if he'd been there, he would have followed you to stop this guy. And that's really true. And, who knows what would happen. But, this guy, think about this. This tranny guy who killed his ex-wife at the hockey game and killed one of his children had a backup gun. Unbelievable that he had a backup gun. But, and I think, look, hats off to this guy for doing that. We're looking to see, are we hearing anything from, now, President Trump, I think he's marshaling his thoughts, if you will. I think marshal is the right word, right? We got another unrelated story. Poland. They're sick of having so many refugees from Ukraine, and so they are tightening their laws. That's a story from Poland. Here's a story from California. Bizarre. Talk about mental illness among Democrats. A California judge has ordered a hospital to continue mutilation of minor children. Unbelievable. Well, that's it for our show today. We will be back on Monday, 9 o'clock Central Time, same station. And I hope you have a great weekend. Our website, TennesseeStar.com, TennesseeStar.com. My name, Michael Patrick Leahy. Look at the Tennessee Star for the summary of some of the stories we did today, including our analysis of the tariff decision by the Supreme Court. Have a great weekend.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door, that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month, as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
FlatFeeNashville.com. flatfeenashville.com.